Welcome back to Seattle Sucks, a podcast about hating the city we love. It's me, Colin. I'm here with Greg and Brian.
Hello.
On the boat.
Hello. We're here on the boat.
We're here on the boat. That's right. Just like last episode, Greg's going to start off quiet, and then we'll probably crescendo into a canon. Is that what they used in the 1812 overture?
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
That plane is really loud.
All right, audience. We're cutting. We're cutting to fix the plane.
Yeah.
Here, just seal it up.
And we're back. Everything's sealed up. There's only enough oxygen to survive for 30 minutes, maybe, so we better be quick.
I'm breathing heavy over here. Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't think we have the executive function for that.
Yeah. So, well, before we get into it, how is everybody? You guys okay? You doing all right? Getting excited for the 4th?
Okay, I mean, first of all, I lack all patriotism. I have whatever the opposite of fucking patriotism is how I feel about America.
Traitorism.
Yes. The emotion I feel around the Independence Day is treason, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I hope the empire falls, is what I'm saying.
Any day now.
It doesn't have to be on July 4th, but it'll probably be a gradual process.
Well, look, Colin. Let me answer. I mean, Greg's clearly tired. All this, but
I had to work, guys.
Oh no!
It's only once a year that you get to celebrate this great country. I, for one, will be out there celebrating it, and our great leader, the Ayatollah. And may God strike down the infidels. And look, if America comes for us, we're gonna fuck them up. So, yeah, we're looking forward to it.
Inshallah.
Hell yeah.
Well, awesome. We are back on the boat, and it's been another wild week. There are ups and downs.
Yeah, tell me about it. Like I said, I had to work.
Yeah.
Did you hear that, listeners? Greg uniquely worked.
Yeah. Unlike everyone else on planet Earth, poor Greg.
I had to work for the weekend. Then I was,
hey, Greg, we're all working for the
help
weekend.
Mother
right?
move. And
Moving
then
sucks.
all day today,
I had to help Mother move.
I've been preparing for taking the boat out for Independence Day festivities, and I've been wrestling with this massive project of rigging old unexploded torpedoes to the bow, like in African Queen.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, it is
so I can just ram it into something,
whatever you need to.
Mm-hmm.
It is really weird that Mother is here in the chair, still wearing those clothes and the wig. The wig's a nice touch, but yeah. And speaking of bones, I think we're gonna talk about some barbecue. You like barbecue?
Oh, I love it.
Good
Love barbecue.
segue, Colin.
Yeah.
You're a real podcaster now.
Thank you.
Anybody got a favorite barbecue place in town?
Well, I heard this one called Jack's. I believe it has a few locations, but notably one maybe in District 2.
Yes, the District 2 part seems superfluous, but yes, it is quite good.
Yeah, and for everyone else, I'm sorry, I don't know what dictum that falls under technically, so please pardon me. I know you're all probably very lost, but seriously,
what kind of barbecue do they have?
It is Texas-style barbecue.
Texas, so brisket,
heavy.
yeah,
Yep.
okay.
Yeah. Actually, It is good, and I mean, I would hate to have to hear anything bad
Oh,
about Jack's barbecue.
Give me a nice
'cause it's pretty
spicy
tasty.
red barbecue sauce and
heavy
a burnt end
black
of brisket.
pepper.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, that sounds good.
Shiner Bock on tap. Yeah, it all sounds great, which is why I'm glad that we're just here to celebrate it, not hear anything bad.
Yeah, that's true. Except there was a little kerfuffle with Ari Hoffman. And I think
Dun, dun.
The Hoffather.
the Hoffather, that's
Hoffather,
right.
yes,
The
yes.
bouncy house magnate.
Real estate and inflatable real estate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So he was going to hold basically, it looked like a campaign event with a suggested donation of $100. And then there was a little bit of backlash. And Brian, you had a really great way of summing up this whole thing.
Yeah, there was the announcement via flyer that Ari was having this fundraiser at Jack's, to which everyone was like, boo, that sucks. Jack's actually good. That fucking sucks. He's supporting Ari. And then a single person posted about how this sucked on Twitter, and Jack Timmerman, who owns Jack's, popped onto the mentions and basically was like, oh no, that event's not happening. We're shutting it down. And so everybody's like, yay, Jack's barbecue.
Everyone gorged themselves on brisket.
Yeah, we all went and just injected brisket into our veins.
Yeah. To own Ari.
To trigger the
conservatives. Yeah. We gave ourselves a coronary arrest to own Ari. And then somebody in the mentions decided, I wonder if, just for no reason whatsoever, I'm just going to check Ari's announced donations. And old Jack Timmerman shows up there for $500. So back to boo. Boo, Jack's barbecue.
What I'm hearing then is this wasn't just like a guy who was like, sure, you want to have an event in my place? Like he's an active supporter. Yeah. And when, like you said, one person said something about it on Twitter, it turns out he's also just a big weenie.
Yeah.
Most likely.
Yeah, because I think everybody's initial impression, because you can rent like a room at Jack's for a special event. So I think most people were like, oh, well, he just like rented a room and then was like, basically then presented it as if Jack's Barbecue was like a key supporter of Ari's campaign. At which point, when Jack was so quick to like cancel the event, everybody's like, "Oh yeah, that must have been what happened." Only to find out that, oh no, like Jack is a supporter. He's just a coward.
Did he also fight in the Battle of Georgetown?
We don't know. We certainly won't steal valor for him. So we'll have to check the rolls.
But yeah, so I mean, Ari was on a real barbecue. It
was a roller coaster.
Yeah. And I feel like he might have been persecuted.
Well, you're not alone in feeling like that. All kinds of people came out of the woodwork, and as we know, Ari's go-to thing is that this, of course, was anti-Semitism, and this was
a classic target of anti-Semitism: Texas barbecue restaurants.
That this was fascist.
Hey, first they came for barbecue, yeah, exactly.
And I said nothing.
What is brisket? And the chosen people, that is their chosen meat.
That's true, yeah.
We need to reevaluate.
Synergy. And so, of course, one of the brain geniuses in the media sphere, Jason Eddie Munster Rantz, came to the defense.
Very disappointed, by the way, that none of our listeners have followed up with what Jason Rantz's real name is.
Yeah, somebody tell us, please.
I refuse to look it up.
Also, it would be anti-Semitism if, like, a Carolina-style barbecue place, like, offered to host him instead. That would be anti-Semitism.
Wow, thanks for clearing that up. Yeah. So Jason...
Love that mustard sauce, though.
It is pretty good.
Well, the plus side is, because it's a sort of vinegar and tomato sauce in Texas, that the dairy never does touch the meat. So, in that sense, it is still kosher.
Sweet. That's a plus. So Jason wrote this giant sort of, I don't even know what you want to call this, but rebuttal.
Opus.
Yeah, his opus. Titled Seattle Restaurant Caves to Pressure, Cancels Conservative Event. And for some reason it has a big Twitter icon all blown up. as its like hero image.
If you're not familiar with the website twitter.com, here's an image
Where
from
all
a bird.
where all the trolls live.
Mm-hmm.
So we thought we would read this great masterwork right now.
Thanks, Colin.
Yeah, you're welcome. Seattle City Council candidate Ari Hoffman was set to host a campaign event at Jack's BBQ in Soto. But then a small group of professional activists got wind.
Yeah, Spek's getting paid. I heard that.
Right.
Well, I love this. By the way, small group is probably overstating this case. Literally one person on Twitter posted this. It was like, that's fucked up that Jax is fucking hosting Ari.
Yeah.
And then Jax, like, so it wasn't even like a campaign. It literally was just one person being like, wow, that sucks.
Yeah, totally.
That was all that Jack needed to
is
collapse.
such a weenie
Yeah.
that he didn't even wait for it to like blow up and make the rounds and like become a big Twitter thing. He's like, oh damn, he got added and he's like, yeah, no, that's my bad.
Yeah.
Well,
because I mean, I think he caved within like 45 minutes. I mean, it wasn't even that long.
It was quick.
Yeah,
it was super
pretty
quick.
fast. Because I remember, I think I maybe sent the thing to Colin, and then like seconds later was like, oh, here's Jack.
Update.
That's probably how Ari found out.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, so the way that Eddie Munster puts this is, they put on pressure. Boycotts were threatened.
False.
And the event was canceled by the venue. This is a mistake. And as sympathetic as I am to the owner, he's enabled this kind of dangerous behavior.
Can't negotiate with terrorists.
Ensuring that it continues.
Or professional activists.
Exactly.
Like Spek.
Again, we get this professional language. The small group of professional, perpetually angry Twitter activists were outraged that a restaurant host, candidate.
What does he actually mean by professional in this context? Like,
I think he thinks all these people are like bankrolled by George Soros or something.
The thing is that the actions against Ari are anti-Semitism, and they are part of a plot from George Soros' international banking cabal. So,
yeah,
I mean, this is where the right gets themselves tied in knots, because for them, everything is like like they literally believe in the protocols, right?
Yeah, right.
So when they want to call anti-Semitism, they really get tied in knots, like fucking themselves up with it, because all their other myths are all,
right. Yeah, linked to that.
Yeah.
He never qualifies that in any way. He just says it like it's a fact.
Oh, they all 100% believe that like every person on Twitter who is their grandkids' age and makes fun of them is a George Soros.
Well, this that I mean, it makes sense. Like
yes,
when you're from another culture, when you're from like another culture, you just make assumptions, about things until you know that they're different. Like in their world, all these talentless hack idiots are bankrolled by billionaires and have like make work jobs to crank out this conservative shit. I mean, how many fucking like
how dare you say that about Saul Spady?
Conservative radio shitheads are on the radio in this market alone, just like blasting at the airwaves with nothing to say, like this asshole. And yes, sex hair. Saul Spady.
Well, and fucking sex. Yeah, the My Northwest or whatever, which this was posted on, has like conservatively 52 op-ed writers at all times.
Yeah,
that are probably all like being paid more than than anybody at the Seattle Times or whatever. And it is this like funny thing of you're probably right that there's so much on top that they don't even understand that everybody else is like no other people are actually working out here.
The small group of professional, perpetually angry Twitter activists were outraged that a restaurant hosts a candidate they disagree with. Hoffman has two characteristics a lot of Seattle progressives hate. He's conservative and he's a Jew.
Yeah, this comes up. This comes up all the time in progressive circles. Yeah,
that is an incredible thing to say.
You just if you've got that big gun, you don't.
Holy shit! I mean, that's a lot different than saying like random people who are making some critiques or picking apart something that you're going to claim is some anti-Semitic trope or some bullshit like that. He just said all Seattle progressives, quote, are
He said
anti-Semitic.
he said a lot, but yeah, it's
Well, it's very funny for Jason Rantz to go from one day claiming that all communists are Jews to the next day all conservatives are Jews. I mean, at some point they're gonna have to decide. Like the conservative movement's gonna have to decide who's Jews and who's aren't.
yeah.
Honestly,
well, when convenient, I think
Yeah.
is the
Yeah.
They don't. That's the thing about conservatism. They don't have to decide shit.
Yeah, they're
they
nihilists.
never have to
Mhm.
decide. It's all fucking meaningless.
Yeah. Well, if anybody who listens to these people, like, it's actually on you, yeah, for like continuing to listen to these fucking morons. But
yeah.
I did like what was that right there at the top when you read? There was some other like fascinating things too about these sort of activists harassing.
Oh, they put on pressure. Boycotts were threatened.
Yeah, I mean, this whole thing about boycotts being threatened. Or no, it's the thing about they were mad that a restaurateur was hosting somebody they didn't like. And I guess the question for that is, I mean, like,
a candidate they disagree with.
Yeah, like, what should they feel about that? Like,
Yeah.
Can you not be upset that somebody you disagree with is doing something? Like,
Yeah.
isn't that the heart of politics? Is not being satisfied with your opponents?
Yeah, that is totally fair.
I mean, but again,
Yeah.
this isn't about like any real argument. This guy is a right wing shithead. That's just you just say whatever conveniently works for you in that moment. It's to try and pick the logic apart. Yeah, I mean, obviously, if like your grocery clerk like started wearing an armband like with a swastika on it, you'd be like, "Wow, shit, man, I don't know if I'm going to shop there anymore." Like, that's not weird. That's normal.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So these activists immediately pressured the BBQ joint to ditch the event, and then it was canceled. Jack Timmons is the owner of the restaurant and told me over the phone that he's a BBQ guy, not a politics guy. His business has been negatively impacted by the homeless, but he doesn't know what to do. But right now, he just wants to lay low until the controversy subsides.
Coward.
So, yeah, what a
Coward.
fucking garbage paragraph.
But well, that like his business has been affected by the home. Like,
Yeah.
in what way?
Like, can you throw some mud on the people already covered in mud before? I'm
the
done
homeless
quoting
keep
you?
turning up the temperature at my like barbecue pit and is drying out the brisket. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
To keep panhandling for money to buy my barbecue.
Sucking out the marrow from the discarded bones.
Which, by the way, I've been to that restaurant several times. I've never seen like a homeless person. I don't know what the fuck he's talking about.
Well, that was this before or after the Battle of Georgetown?
Oh, that is true. That is true.
Okay. After businesses cave, as Jack's BBQ did, there's usually disingenuous claims by the children terrorizing these establishments. Now they'll enjoy dinner at Jack's. It just so happens they have 7 long-lost brothers who he just made contact with. Guess what? They're in town and they haven't figured out where to eat dinner. They'll reward you for seeking to silence political opposition by going to your joint. And maybe Jack's BBQ sees a small bump tonight or tomorrow as a result of kowtowing to these economic bullies. Maybe these Twitter trolls will end up buying a slab of ribs or a pulled pork sandwich. But that bump, as tiny as it is, quickly goes away. And then you're left with what you just helped to do to this city.
Which is not host a campaign event for a guy who's going to come like 8th in an 8-man primary. Like, I mean, the funniest part about this is clearly the reason why Jack is like, being a coward about this is that nobody likes Ari. Like that.
Yeah.
That's what it's come down to.
Yeah.
Like, everybody fucking hates Ari.
What he's saying there is people shouldn't come in and bring politics into these small businesses and whether they're gonna. This guy is the one who did that. He gave $500 to Ari and then wanted to sponsor a campaign event for him. He moved into that place. He went on the record with his money and his business and his support for a massive creep. That is how this started. Like, he could have just been a shithead conservative and not given money to Ari, or even probably just done that and no one would have ever really cared. But he then decided he wanted to take his business, the space he owns, his place in the community, he wanted to lend his name to this guy. So, what the fuck are you talking about, Jason?
Yeah, well, once again, conservatives just upset that there's consequences in life and, just always looking for a handout. Those conservatives. But yeah, it's, it is truly astonishing. And I mean, the funny part is I think this is like a little bit of Ari's death rattle because the chamber refused to endorse him. Fucking Speak Out Seattle, which I think only exists.
Which is funny because they found him in the first place.
Yeah, right.
Oh yeah. I think Ari was going to be the Chamber's person. He's just too stupid.
That's the thing. But that's what's so great about it is they went out. This tells you something. They went out looking for people, and they were like, "We need fire breathers. We need people who are really, really anti-homeless, anti-tax, anti-city council. We need to." That's what they went out looking for, which is why they found and recruited Ari, and now it's blowing up in their face.
Yeah. Well, I think they were like, let's bring in somebody who's going to play on the deep unpopularity of Kashama Sawant and others on the council. But the problem is it turns out that those people are actually kind of popular. and that it's actually Ari and his weird crew that's people fucking hate. But I mean,
Brian, it's pronounced Shama.
Oh my god.
What, you think no one's going to notice that?
Anyways,
He's only been on the council for years.
Canceled.
No, you can cut this. I'm just trying to help you out.
I'm already canceled this week, so you're too late, Greg.
I'm not trying to cancel you. I'm trying to give you a leg up here,
conservative,
buddy.
Isn't that what he...
Yeah,
called you?
Well, I am a racist because I made fun of boomers on Twitter.
Yeah, you're ageist.
Yeah. Well, no, I was assured that
Wait
was
a minute.
just as bad
Okay,
as
trying to
being
pick
racist.
apart, trying to pick any kind of argument out of that is a fool's errand because that was the most insane fucking gibberish.
That guy is following me now, and he retweets my tweets now. It's very bizarre.
Wait.
He actually, I know I offered it up in
confused.
jest, but I think he is my dad now, actually.
Okay.
I'm so proud of my son, Brian. Look at what he wrote. Look at what he's
honestly,
retweeting.
so far, antagonizing people directly and personally has only been good for this podcast.
I disagree with that. Almost anytime you see antagonism, it's Greg.
Yeah, I piled on a little in that exchange, but
yeah, Sapiro was. I've been playing Sapiro the Dragon all weekend.
But anybody can go check my Twitter feed to figure out what the fuck we're talking about. But the point being is that, yeah, I mean, Ari has no actual base of popular support to the point that his own organization, Speak Out Seattle, split their recommendation between him and somebody else. He couldn't get 100% recommendation from his own organization.
Well, because they now
they know he's
they're
not going
seeing
to win.
that he's.
They're seeing that the bouncy house magnate may not have been the place to put all the eggs in the basket.
Yeah, they're seeing their strategy of being this is the beer hall putsch here. Okay, they're seeing oh, this isn't gonna work here. Okay, this was too much too soon, too brash, and they're going to. They were radicalized, but now they're going to be actually politicized. They're going to figure out how to, come around next time, and these people will be a
little more organized.
Force, yeah.
Well, I mean, the funny part is the Safe Seattle, Speak Out Seattle, which are both the same organization, despite what they might tell you, ran 3 candidates in 2017. All of which didn't make it out of the primaries. All of which were dead last in their primary. I think the 3 of them combined for 3,000 votes.
Wow.
And Ari's going to be in the same boat. And, Safe Seattle especially was we can't be splitting our attention this time. We got to back one candidate and make it work. But it turns out if you go on the Safe Seattle page, all those people will proudly say that they live in Bellevue and stuff. Yeah. So it's this thing, his entire base of support lives outside of the city, which is a real hindrance in a city council campaign. But
I think that is a great point, because I think Ari might actually be a popular figure, but he's not going to be popular in his own district. Because he's just representing the sick, crazed, craven minds.
Well, and the thing is, he's too stupid. If he was smart, he would have parlayed his complaining about the homeless in this council race in order to get one of these 52 editorial spots for My Northwest or for whatever dumb thing.
Yeah.
And he would have had like a conservative media job, but he is too politically dumb that he keeps just yelling anti-Semitism, which nobody believes. And like, and nobody here cares either. Like, it's part of the problem too.
Yeah.
Nobody in Seattle gives a shit about religion. But if he'd just been like a hair smarter, he could at least had a media job when this inevitably falls apart.
Yeah, I think he, though, has romanticized his own candidacy, and he sees himself as like the lone cowboy who's going to ride into town, set things straight, and then ride off into the sunset with a big old bag of homeless people dragging behind his horse. Never to be seen again, that.
Yeah, I mean, the anti-Semitism thing, I only think he watched what happened to, like, Ilhan Omar and what happened to, like, AOC. And he watched how the conservative media basically, like, so easily race-baited the Democratic Party into, like, killing their own fucking candidates that I think he's just like, oh, I'll just do that here.
But he didn't realize it.
Yeah.
He realized it didn't work the other way. Constantly claiming you're a victim of some very, like, confusing, hard to pin down shit is not a political strategy.
Yeah, that's not like you can't run on that. And also, everybody realized very quickly that his one claim to anti-Semitism is that somebody said an anti-Semitic thing roughly adjacent to his name on 8chan. And I think most people in a city like Seattle understand that, like, well, anti-Semitism is the language of 8chan. Like, kind of, you know, like, congratulations. Like, who cares? Like, it's not a big deal. Like, that,
It's not that
8chan's a fucking cesspool. What are you going to do? Man?
Yeah.
Like,
the fact that you were mentioned, like, just, it doesn't.
Yeah, the reason why he's being talked about 8chan is because that's his fucking base on there. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
But.
Yeah, again, this contradiction.
Yeah, whereas, like, Rich Smith had pointed out in The Stranger, other council candidates get like hundreds of actual death threats that aren't just random, like, fucking edgelord comments on 8chan, but are like actually like letters being sent into them and stuff like like directly addressed to them that also have plenty of anti-Semitism in it, but you don't see other council members doing this.
Or people adjacent to council like Erica C. Barnett. I think it's also maybe important, though slightly pedantic, to say that it is pretty stupid to do this using the market as like a system to reward people for their politics.
It's very stupid.
We should try to not give in to that impulse.
Well, we have to understand our power isn't as consumers, which is what this buys into.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and it also, like, a big part of this, like, this never, again, no boycott ever got off the ground. Not even like a Twitter fake boycott.
No, well,
but sometimes that shit does. Like, people will really get riled up and, like, talk, we're going to do this. And to call it a boycott, and that's just not what a fucking boycott is.
Yeah.
Like, a certain stripe of people saying online that they're not going to patronize some business anymore that they may or may not have even patronized or may not even be in their community is not a boycott. An actual boycott, to the extent that that's like a useful political tool, is about organizing. It's actually getting people on the street and shutting something down. It's not like eating at a different restaurant.
Yeah, and an actual boycott too generally is done to like shut down some important piece of infrastructure or something like that. And in this case, I mean, they keep saying it's a boycott, but it's like, again, even in the cases on Twitter where a lot of people are like, I'm not going there. That's not a fucking boycott. That's just people complaining on fucking Twitter.
Right.
Go look at McDonald's like Twitter feed anytime they change anything on the menu, and you'll see a million people who have a lot more like passion complaining to McDonald's. It's not a fucking boycott. It's just people complaining.
Yeah, or the Pride
Bring back
Oreos.
the McRib. Get rid of the McRib.
Did you guys see the Pride Oreos today?
No.
Yeah.
Gross.
So that stuff, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, every company that did anything around Pride had a lot more people, you know, doing stuff about that. Yeah, the stuff.
But those are not boycotts.
Yeah, they're not boycotts. And like saying you're not going to go to like Jack's, it's like you're not fucking obligated to go to Jack's barbecue.
Yeah.
By the same token, if you just as a personal thing, if you're like, oh, this guy's a shithead, I'm not going to go to his restaurant anymore, that's perfectly valid.
Yeah.
But just know that you're not exercising any power in the world.
Oh, sure,
and it is not a boycott.
At least not the kind of power that we should be trying to
Well, this is not
build and
a
leverage.
vital left strategy,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And conversely, you shouldn't go somewhere because you're so happy with their politics.
Yeah, trust me, the employer of whatever restaurant you go to instead of Jack's also sucks. that's the inevitable lesson of all this.
Yeah, there's that's the thing. In under capitalism,
there's no ethical
almost
consumption.
no. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There's no better fucking choice out there. I don't know if there was like a red bar in my neighborhood, I would go there. I'd just hang out there all day. I wouldn't only go there.
Yeah, and it wouldn't be theatrical, right? I mean, that's the thing. It's like
I would just.
What it was.
Well, sure. Well, I think it's just as a sign of how like alienated and disempowered people are that
Totally.
this is the only thing they can think of is to say, well,
To vote with
it's
their
the equivalent
dollar.
of- yeah, like I'm going to write you a bad Yelp review. It's the equivalent of that. And it's like, and ultimately, at some point on the left, we have to realize that shit sucks, and that we should do better, right? Like the people who wanted to boycott Wayfair or whatever. It's like,
Oh yeah.
instead of boycotting Wayfair, why don't you support the workers there who are actively pushing the company against ICE detention and stuff like that, right? Support workers' movements, people, right? Support workers' movements.
Yeah.
Boycotts are dumb. Workers' movements are good. Only boycott in line with workers' movements.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what will happen at Jack's? The people who actually went to Jack's BBQ before will still go. The ones who never visited but threatened to boycott will still stay away.
I'll still be on the radio.
And Jack continues running his business as if nothing happened.
So the end of the story
He's
is
not
that
wrong.
nothing's going to change and nothing's going to happen. So why did he write this?
Basically. But he'll have contributed to a disturbing trend in this city that ensures this dangerous echo chamber isn't broken. And even though he could have inspired a bunch of other businesses to step up and say they won't be intimidated by simply hosting a mainstream candidate, he may not even agree with the politician, but free speech matters. And instead of inspiring, he chose to curl up in a ball, weather out
This
the
is
storm,
fucking drivel.
and lay low until it goes
This is
away.
meaning. It's just this is what American conservative media is. What it's always been. It adds up to nothing. It's just about keeping some rhetorical ball in the air. Keep throwing stuff up there to just keep chumming the waters. Keep it. It's just grist for the conservative mill that's going to grind us all up eventually. But it's just inching there. But it's just got to keep boomer addled retirees just awake. They just gotta keep that part of their brain functioning where they can't they don't remember their children. They can't feed themselves, but they know all they know is they're angry, and the one time they will know what day it is, it will be election day.
Well, it's not coincidental that he refers to the people on Twitter as like children and stuff. Although Spek, I think, is like quite old relative to children, I guess.
Totally.
But they refer to him as that there's also that weird part of the conservative boomer brain where I think they really do just hate their fucking kids. And that's like a big part of pushing that pleasure center on their brain, like when they're riding in their car. Because I'm just picturing all these old men in their trucks or whatever listening to this fucking Jason go to trademark rants.
Yeah.
And just being all hyped up, being like, yeah, fuck my kids. Fuck my kids not coming over for Thanksgiving. Fuck them. But just getting more and more hyped until they eventually just have a fucking coronary in their car. But yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
I'm
Thanks, Jason.
I'm not going to give the Twitter trolls the attention they'd so desperately crave. I'm not going to reprint.
I'm just gonna write an entire fucking article about a one tweet adventure on Twitter.
I'm not going to reprint their passive-aggressive tweets. Honestly, there aren't that many of them. I'm certainly not going to call for
You're
a
writing
boycott.
an article about tweets, you
Also,
idiot.
there's not that many of them, which seems contrary to what he said earlier, but whatever.
I don't think anyone should boycott this restaurant. The opposite, actually. But I'm going to talk directly to the owner, Jack, and his future customers, you, on this blog. First, for Jack. I get that it's tough being a restaurateur in any city.
Hope he hears you, bud.
Especially one as expensive as Seattle. I get the tough position you're in knowing that even a small boycott could close your restaurant. I get that you don't have to host any events at all. But I also get that when you enable this kind of threatening behavior, you ensure it happens again and again and again some more. Are you honestly okay with that? Is that how you want your restaurant to run? Giving in to every lunatic because their political beliefs are challenged? Is that the environment you want in a city I presume you care deeply for? Where exactly does it end?
Yeah, and what Jack would be thinking is going like, shut the fuck up. You fucking radio hack. I run a business. I don't actually give a shit about anything else except my bottom line.
Yeah.
And I all this posturing, I feel stupid for like getting out of my lane and like getting into this politics shit, and I'm trying to reverse that because what I do know is like the dollar is king, motherfucker. And like I actually work for a living, you piece of shit.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and
He thinks
Right.
Well, I do love this complaint coming from Jason Rantz of like you're just enabling people to be mad at you and your restaurant for doing things they don't like. Yet when Jason's yelling at his waiter for like not bringing him water fast enough, you know, he's the first person to be like, the customer's always right. You know,
like being an asshole is enabling people to hate you.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's the other like big like tick off for conservatives, right? Is that's not their fault that everybody hates them, right?
Like,
you know, like the fact that I'm like a racist all the time is not my fault that people hate that.
Like murdering someone's family is just enabling their vengeance.
Yeah.
You told me you wanted to do something about the homeless because, I presume, you're both compassionate and a smart enough business owner to know it can hurt your livelihood. Why are you okay giving in? Second, to you, the future customers, I think you all should go to Jack's BBQ. I eat at the South Lake Union restaurant frequently. You should enjoy their ribs, maybe the billionaire beef bacon, or their chicken. Skip the coleslaw, which I honestly don't like. Sorry. And on the way out, explain that you came for good food. You should also tell Jack you've got his back. If he takes heat for choosing to stand up for speech and break the echo chamber, that if any loser on Twitter threatens a boycott, you'll back the restaurant and you'll bring friends, because no matter our political identity, we stand for more speech, not less.
All these morons are gonna be like yelling at the guys in the back cooking the food because they think it's Jack, and like they'll be like, "Oh, we back here," and all these guys are back like, "What the fuck are they talking about?"
I gotta say, like, his politics notwithstanding, my mouth was watering for some brisket until I heard from Jason that the coleslaw sucks. I'm sorry, if your a barbecue restaurant doesn't have good coleslaw, like, just fucking skip it, man. That's the only fiber you're getting with that meal. Like, I got shit.
I, for one, like to just order a nice little side salad. You know, get that lean piece of brisket. Just keep it all healthy. You know. I don't know where that was going.
Brian's weakest riff. He tried to
leave it in.
Do some improv about eating healthy, and he found himself lost.
You can only improv about things you know about. Well, what you guys don't know is I have a long list of riffs that I write out painstakingly ahead of time, and I tried to go off the list. And
Yeah, I have heard it is best to handwrite your riffs first
Yes,
to just
yes.
really get the
Yeah,
flow.
I use a typewriter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just have them in a file folder over here. I flip through them real quick.
Yeah. Well, that must be why I'm so bad at it as a host, because I'm trying to pretend like I'm a human. But loud progressive trolls wait, what? Okay, this is a typo. Sorry. Loud progressive trolls are on a mission to silence speech they don't like. And we're willing to protect businesses that do something simple, like not kick someone out on the basis of their political beliefs.
Oh my god! It did not fucking start with him being kicked out.
He's just doing all kinds of...
yeah.
It's like I'm just imagining a guy on a unicycle
Who's the
trying
child?
Yeah.
Who's the child here?
Yeah, no kidding.
the
Well,
reader, like you said earlier.
Yeah. Well, that and yeah, again, like as if Ari walked in the restaurant and they were like, "Get out" or something like that. It's like they told me you couldn't throw a political event there. I think that's probably okay.
Yeah. But you should also tell Jack that by succumbing to the pressures of a small group of elitist Twitter trolls who don't give a damn about that business, he contributed to keeping Seattle as close-minded as it is.
He's said this 7 times right
I know,
now. This article's over, right?
I mean, yeah.
He has not made a point in ever.
It's
so.
yeah. Well, it's leading to the
I
problems.
made a pretty strong point vis-a-vis coleslaw.
As a business owner is dealing with on a regular basis. This is the last paragraph. Okay, we were so close. He had the chance to help change that, and he chose to lay low. So let's give him the confidence that will back him. So the next time he's in a position like this, he will feel more empowered to do what's right. Damn.
Let's all lay hands on Jack and pray.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Let's give it up to Jesus for his confidence in his barbecue recipe.
Yeah, Lord, bless this brisket tonight.
And
please give this brisket.
And please restore to Jack that confidence that he, as a pillar of the community, should be able to voice his political grievances in public under the banner of his business, because he is an entrepreneur and therefore a hero, and he should be running this fucking city.
Wow.
Amen.
Moving.
Let's move in.
So I guess the lesson was he needs a street team. Again. Yeah, unless you have like a gang of warrior thugs that will take to Twitter and have your back.
Yeah, I think that is the lesson, is that Ari, Jack, all his backers need a street team to protect Ari. You know, they'll need to separate themselves out. Maybe they can all wear the same color shirt.
Yeah.
And, you know, just march up and down through the streets protecting Ari. So
I already have a gang name for them, the Sharps. You can use that one for free. Well, that sucked a lot. I know we're going to try not to say that anymore, but it really did. That sucked a lot. Was there anything else?
Are we going to try not to say that? Are we not saying that?
Well, we were just laughing about it last episode.
Yeah.
It's become a crutch for me, at least.
That's the name of the podcast.
Well, that sucks a lot, is how you can pretty much finish every story that's on this.
Yeah.
But luckily...
That's like the sign-off. That should just... That's basically the sign-off to every segment in this podcast.
Well, despite, despite Jason Rantz's awful article, I mean, solutions to homelessness are being offered, right?
Yeah, I guess. Sending them to a penal colony where they can not leave until they're better. better in scare quotes.
Which, we should talk about real quick just about Safe Seattle just being on.
Oh yeah, holy shit!
They just today, as we're recording, not to give away the date that we're recording, but they have accused a international gypsy conspiracy of infiltrating downtown with sympathetic homeless women and children.
I think Dave...
What the fuck?
Dave Preston was like trying to tweet while he was driving, and he hit like an old gypsy woman crossing the street.
One of the fucking people literally said that they were worried about a gypsy curse, like in the fucking thing. I mean, it's truly awful. And then I guess we really should be saying Roma or whatever. Although,
Romani. It is the dumbest fucking thing too, because it's a reader tip, and then it has a fake follow-up question, like how can you tell? And the person's like, I can tell
skull
by
shape.
Basically, yeah, they're like their skin color, their dress.
No, hold on. Let me find this. Let me
what,
find
tracksuits?
No, it's specifically they're saying women with children that to them appeared to be. Like,
yeah, let's pause for a second. Let me
So-
find this fucking thing real fast, because we'll grab all the Safe Seattle bits while we're here. But Jesus Christ, it's too fucking good to not read it. Yeah, so this is from the Safe Seattle Facebook page, and so Dave Preston, who is the main host of the page, has this way of reposting just natural conversations that he has with actual people, and definitely not just his own inner thoughts. That's for sure. But he has this. He sets up this sort of dialogue, a sort of platonic dialogue right here, where it begins. Reader, David, have you noticed an increase in the number of female panhandlers with children in the downtown area? They appear to be of Eastern European descent. I counted 4 last Friday. I've previously seen 1 on occasion. David Preston. No, but you're the second or third reader to have observed this recently. How do you know they're of Eastern European descent? A reader. They appear...
This is unreal,
dude. It's so crazy. It is literally beyond parody.
I immediately apologize to everybody who has to hear this. They appear to be gypsy-like.
Oh my
olive
God.
Skin.
Holy
I try to be as PC as possible, and I really hate to guess, based on stereotypes and my own caliper measurements of this. But they wear long dresses with shawls over their heads.
No one else would do that.
Yeah,
Okay,
and they don't speak
I'm not
English.
a race scientist, so I'm not sure about this, but I'm pretty sure Romani people are white as fuck.
I don't know. I think they can look better. Who fucking knows?
Dark hair, but not.
They just look. Look, they just look what you think of Eastern Europeans.
white people.
They have signs that say they need money for motels.
What do they look like? The fucking Tsarnaevs or something?
Each of them has a kid in tow. It's clearly an organized effort. That's my favorite part. It's clearly an organized effort.
A cabal.
My assistant says she has seen them in Bellevue and Kirkland, too. I feel terrible for them. I will snap a photo next time.
Yeah, please do.
I feel terrible for these professional activists who are organizing this effort. What is the organized effort? This is all
to scam you out of money.
They're crisis actors?
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
No, if you go through the comments, they literally believe this is a national conspiracy to
so they're all like
the nation's cities. I can only
so like a
assume
caravan
George Soros
of Romani
is at
gypsies rolled into town.
Perfect
in
time.
their,
Everyone's watching the Mexican
in
border.
their motor coaches.
and
This
that's
was the time for them to make their
from
move.
like West Virginia or wherever
Yep.
American Romani are.
Right.
It's something like that, right? There's
I don't
large
even know.
communities somewhere in America. I've seen it on reality television.
Oh, okay.
So,
I like this.
but they're all here because it's like they're playing various like long and short cons that are all like organized together, and the small time is you send the women and a couple of kids out on the street to panhandle. Meanwhile, other people are running like insurance scams and like rear-ended, getting their trailers rear-ended on purpose, and like
luckily
mail fraud, etc.
Luckily, top fan Maria Ann McGregor chimes in to help clear this up a little bit. She writes, "They are travelers, Eastern European gypsies.
Oh, fuck me.
Careful when you approach them."
Yeah,
Do not look directly in their eyes.
my God.
If you try to offer them help in the form of information, they will scream curses at you.
You know what's but she means like
Yeah,
curses, like a magical
to
curse,
hell.
like-
she definitely means
like a
that.
hex.
Yeah.
She means like
I think we
scream a
can all
hex.
agree that she's too
Holy
stupid for
shit.
that,
You know what's really unfair is when conservatives get labeled as racist.
but-
No kidding.
It's a real surprise, when you hear that, given just such normal fucking stuff on their sites all the time. Well, Safe Seattle also had, along with doing a little race science on our local population.
Can you believe that's just the tip of the
I am
iceberg?
fucking gobsmacked by I had gypsy invasion.
When I saw that, I almost fell out of my chair.
I don't know what is the
couldn't believe
fucking
it.
weirdest, funniest part of this. The fact that 100% there are probably not.
Yeah.
There might be one homeless person of Romani descent in Seattle, if I had to guess.
Yeah. Well, one person assures everybody that the United States has a large population of Romani people. It's like, that is factually wrong.
It has
absolutely not
large.
true.
That's a subjective thing. There are
larger than my high school.
There are people of Romani descent in America for sure, but
sure, yeah.
But like,
weirdly, not a lot. As if something happened to the Romani people.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Sometime
They're
between
not
like 1938 and 1945.
Yeah,
there used to be a lot more of them.
those big homogenous populations like the Chinese, Romani gypsies.
But there's like a whole weird thing. But so David, I'm assuming this is David again. Just hours later, then
After he'd been cursed for running over a Romani.
he then helps us out. I'm sorry, this is actually minutes later. By the way, their whole their gypsy curse thread has 137 comments on it.
Awesome.
But only 11 shares. Cowards. Cowards. So then, just moments later, David decides to gives these little short articles. On
He's
Safe
all
Seattle.
horned up now.
Exactly. This one's entitled "Homeless Voter Fraud." This article.
Wait a minute.
This article is about a voter fraud scheme that involved homeless people in Los Angeles. I have heard suggestions about similar things happen in Seattle, but have yet to see any hard evidence. Just gonna throw that out in the air, though.
I love how they couch all their language that.
By the way, do you guys think that the 40 comments on this? Do you think they're gonna disagree with that statement?
I'm just gonna guess what this is. Okay, when I hear from a conservative voter fraud scheme, I think what probably is happening in reality is 100% nothing. But the details of said nothing are homeless people are registered to vote at some address that they physically aren't at 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And in fact, they live under a bridge somewhere that is not where they're voting.
You nailed it.
Well, this comes.
So this isn't so.
Pretty
The
much
takeaway from that is
Yeah.
this is an organized plot to steal elections through this, not the result of someone not having a fucking home.
Well, at one point, the one of the person he complains that like, "Oh, hey, this camp got cleared out of District 2, and now it's up in the U District, which is what District 4, right?
Yep.
Is in District 4, and that guy might still, somebody who was registered in that camp might be registered in District 2, but is voting in District 4." And I'm like, again, as you're saying,
the problem
not an organized
here,
plot. You evicted this person and moved them by gun to the university.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
but what you're saying is when the cops are clearing a camp, they're not also offering voter re-registration on the spot.
Location.
Yeah, I hope they at least had their mail forwarded.
Yeah. Well, fuck off.
Well, one way to determine whether this kind of voter fraud is happening here would be to check voter registrations and voting records, and this is by way of getting to what they really want to do, against shelter and food bank addresses. Large numbers of people voting for a particular candidate from a shelter address would suggest, although he puts in parentheses, not necessarily prove, that someone might be registering people at that address and then helping them fill out their ballots. So what he wants is a purge of the voter rolls. Like, if you ever receive social services, you should be purged from the voter rolls. This is where this is going.
And the sinister thing here that's happening, supposedly, is people registering other people to vote.
Oh yeah, which is of course conservatives hate that.
Some acorn shit right there.
It's a real acorn shit, which probably nobody in Seattle is doing. They should, but nobody does. But David, he reassures us that it's not illegal for a homeless person to use a shelter, food bank, or similar mail drop type address to register, and it's also not illegal for them to vote. Comments in the comment section will say otherwise. So he concludes, voter fraud is tough for civilians to expose because ballots are secret and address information isn't easy to get. So,
what a shame.
A true operator would be able to figure it out. Voter fraud can be rooted out only when elections officials are sensitive to it and diligent about exposing it. He wants to purge the voter rolls of fucking poor people.
Because the only legitimate way to register to vote is when, as you said, you forward your mail from the postal service.
Right.
You click the thing that says, also at your house, at your computer, or you say, send me the thing in the mail, and then you get it. It gets in your mail pile, and you sort it through on your dining room table when you're doing all your bills, and then you fill it out. And that is how you register to vote. Anything outside of that, like someone coming and helping you do it, or like doing like a registration drive, that's stealing an election.
yeah, exactly. Well,
it's not done in a home.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Well, hey, trust the very first comment is that you should only be allowed to vote if you have a registered address at a domicile that is in a residential area.
Very founding fathers of them.
I mean, it begs the question.
I bet you if we ask that person, they have some additional requirements, probably.
It begs the question, though, why?
Why.
Well, let's find out, but what more than why, David would like to tell you.
How?
Why not? Why does this keep happening? Why not stop it? And he sums up with, King County officials would be loath to go after this type of fraud in particular, because if they did so, they would be accused by the quote-unquote social justice establishment of being anti-homeless. And in these parts, that's tantamount to political death.
So,
come to Seattle where the homeless are treated like kings.
Weird. Taking away someone's democratic franchise, their nominal supposed democratic franchise, it would be seen as antagonistic to that class of people. I don't know. I'm willing to entertain it.
I like this guy though. This is I'm gonna go and guess a fake name, Flip Dickerson.
No, it's gotta be real.
If I haven't enough information to make a choice, Reed doesn't know who the Nazi on the ballot is, or don't care for the choices, I have taken to marking the oval, which he put in parentheses for some reason, on the write-in line and printing abstain. Why? Because a social justice warrior elections office worker could mark my ballot with a pencil and subvert the process. I want you guys to know I count ballots in Seattle and I do that. So if you don't mark something I just write in Lenin or the closest affiliate.
I don't even count ballots. I do what that cool Southern guy did, and I just steal people's ballots I change their vote.
Brian, you're doing it wrong. The real way to achieve the revolution is you just whereas he left it blank, you just circle, you fill in the oval for the establishment Democrat.
I always
that's
write
on the ballot.
I don't even look. I just write Ed Murray or whoever is supposed to support it.
Is that what we're doing?
Throwing away your vote on a joke Mickey Mouse vote, huh?
I've been writing in Jenny Durkin for everything, I guess.
Yeah, I like this guy who does Michael Donnelly, who says King County can't fix roads but can fix elections. What the fuck is happening on this website?
Yeah,
what is going on this fucking website?
It's just one big circle jerk to brain death.
Well, Save Seattle has gotten a spin-off chapter in Austin.
Oh, cool.
It's called Save Horns. And they cross and they cross post,
Hell yeah.
and it
Shut the
is
fuck up! You're kidding me.
unfucking real. Oh god, yeah, it's so good. The person in the little cross post tries to claim that homeless people didn't exist in Austin until 2013.
Yeah, definitely true.
Because California libtards took over the town, and now it's overrun with the homeless. And as someone who's been to Austin many, many, many times prior to 2013. Let me tell you that A, Austin's always sucked, and B, it's always had homeless people. I don't know where the fuck this person's coming. Like, it was like renowned in Texas as being like the city with the most homeless people.
Yeah, I can totally see that. I was only there a couple years, but I definitely saw homeless people.
Yeah. Well, it's
Bush
a
era too. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a college town that had like I mean, it kind of attracts
Yeah. I think it's experienced a similar kind of phenomenon as Seattle, though, in that it's grown a lot with like tech yuppies.
Hey, the poster was clear. California libtards.
Oh, okay.
So,
is that what we're calling them now?
I guess so.
Is that the Save Seattle PC term?
Yeah. Well, there's nothing, cooler than a website that's to constantly tell its, readers to stop posting racist content.
Stop reposting racist content from the accounts.
From their own fucking thing.
Yeah.
Well, I think they've been threatened by Facebook a couple of times, so they try and clean the ship up a little bit. But man,
they can't help themselves.
Struggling.
They cannot help themselves. So that sucked a lot. I did it again.
That was totally natural.
I'm gonna keep doing it. It's gonna
seem
natural, but
so if you haven't seen it yet, and maybe you have, we've started a full broadsheet daily
online
paper
journalism.
You were doing journalism now.
Mm-hmm.
Been submitted for several Pulitzers, waiting to hear back from the committee.
And so that's up. It's pick up the big issues on Sunday, of course. Like that's got all the coupons.
The freaks have been working round the clock to bring this to you, also. So shout out to them freaks.
We've been shoving extra barbecue under the other Blethens cage door in the bottom of the Bothell printing facility, and in return he's cranked the levers in such a way that it spits out a few copies of our publication.
Totally. And it's hard to tell, but those grunts and groans, they sound a lot happier. I think he's finding pride in his work. So so check that out. Right now, we're still working on some infrastructural things, but you can find it on our main domain, which is www.seattle.sucks/blog would be blog. That's blog.
Or just go to seattle.sucks and hit the link.
Yeah, there will be a link in the show notes, and hopefully there will be a link on the page.
And coming out concurrently with this episode is a piece from our own resident crank. Wait, we're all cranks. Never mind. Brian Platt. Tell us about it, Brian.
Actually, I hope to have a few pieces coming out that are about homelessness in Seattle and anti-homeless crusades. And this first one sort of takes the Seattle is Dying sort of movie and movement, if we can call it that, that's happened, and compares it with several other anti-homeless panics in the city's history, looking at, particularly in the progressive era, when there was this whole area down by the stadium, so it was all shacks of improvised structures that people would live in, that was called Shacktown, and it was just south of Skid Row. And everybody would, it was the source of middle-class moral panic at that time, too.
Because everyone was, almost 8 feet tall that lived there, right?
Yeah. They went hard in the paint, and if you tried to bring it inside, no, sir. No, sir. It's not going to fly. But yeah, it was this, giant community of people who were largely seasonal workers, which made up a big chunk of the workforce, who would come live in Seattle when, the logging season was over, or, fishing seasons and things like that. Some of them were gold miners and things like that. And a lot of them, they lived in everything from, rundown piles of sticks to like actual houses that they built over time, right? And they would continually sort of upgrade their housing, and they lived in communities and actually had, like leaders in the communities and things like that. Middle class, society groups would march down there into Shacktown periodically and, tut them about their behavior and whatnot. And eventually, through the Department of Health, a massive campaign was started to burn down Shacktown, which you will be shocked to learn that after burning all their houses, it did not make these people any less indigent or any less existent.
Is that because they neglected to burn down the shacks with the people in them?
I think
it sounds to me, from reading your article, the takeaway I got was that their OPSEC wasn't very good, and they let them know they were coming, and gave them time to flee, which that's just not how you do a genocide.
Well, given in the there wasn't like a ton of things to do in like 1908, apparently when especially city officials would come down to Shacktown, the people in Shacktown would line the like streets and would just yell at them and heckle them. And so at one point, Seattle was having this giant, international convention, right? A World's Fair.
WTO?
The AYPE, right? Yeah. And they wanted to burn down all of Shacktown prior to the AYPE. And when they came down to visit, everyone in Shacktown just heckled the shit out of them and were like, oh, why don't you bring those visitors down here to see what Seattle really likes? Well, the motto was the city beautiful for the AYP, and they said, bring them down here and we'll show them the city beautiful.
Hell yeah.
But, the Seattle Times, always that just measured paper that's always been, did write in 1905 a large front page feature all about Shacktown, which they referred to as a wretched community of animalism, and referred to people there as the bottommost level to which the human animal can sink. They seem to be very concerned about potential race mixing that might produce a race that was going to be a heavy menace to the city.
Holy shit.
So, definitely nothing crazy or weird.
So is Eric Johnson like Toombs from X-Files? Is he like 600 years old or something?
Well, I mean, looking back, we can see they were right.
They tried to warn us.
And it's funny that it makes sense that why the expo was literally on like the opposite side of town.
On the University of Washington.
They literally cut. Well, it wasn't at the time. It was just a hill with some trees on it that they cut down. It was just nothing out there. They're like, where are we gonna go? As far as like the good
from
neighborhoods,
the pores as
so we're
possible.
gonna go past downtown to the good neighborhoods. Then we're gonna go past that, even across to the other side of the fucking lake to a hill where no one is, and chop it down. And that is how we're gonna. So you can just see the city beautiful in the distance. You stand at the top of the hill, you can see a tiny bit of the city between Capitol Hill and Queen Anne across the lake, and in that distance, I'm sure it looked beautiful.
Yeah, and in this time, too, they also rebuilt the armory to be basically to stand between Queen Anne and Skid Road and Shacktown. Yeah. Like, I mean, not a subtle hint at what they were, attempting to do there. And the interesting part is a lot of the arguments that got used to justify burning down Shacktown are similar to what we hear today about preserving property values, preserving property rights. And the big one, too, is that it all came down to, this is actually a public health measure. Scattering like the indigent was a public health measure to, end tuberculosis, and the more insidious where they claimed that they were the reason for the bubonic plague outbreak that happened in the city around that time. So, which was not true, but got weaponized anyways. Ironically, the first big burning of houses sent a lot of the at the time they were in the tide flats, and it sent them just across the waterway
To West Seattle.
To West Seattle, and everybody in West Seattle just threw this giant shit fit about the homeless coming over on barges and setting up in there.
I'm guessing those people had less political power over in West Seattle.
Yeah, it turned out Seattle didn't give a shit about West Seattle's opinion on the situation.
Weird. So much has changed.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
Well, it's not that's a good cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Where did these people end up, and did they go away forever and never come back? If you want to know the answer to that, you will have to go to a news purveyor, a news shop, a little boy with a stupid hat, and
saying extra,
pay a nickel, and
Picayune.
The Seattle sucks Picayune. If they say they don't have it, they are withholding political information from you. They are lying.
You can kill them.
Overturn their newsstand at the very least.
Yeah. Start with a boycott.
Actually,
also,
kick all their shit over.
As a public health measure, burn it to the fucking ground.
Exactly.
Add that quick dry cement into your milkshake.
Oh my god, how do we not talk about that? But anyways, yeah, if you want to find out whether Seattle ended homelessness once and for all back in 1913, go ahead and pop on the website and definitely check it out. There's pictures, so if you don't like reading, you can just look at the pictures.
Yeah, and you can guess what happened.
If they liked reading, they wouldn't be wasting a fucking hour and a half twice a week listening to us. So,
wow, Jesus. Okay.
That's your whole reading budget in 21st century America. So,
for some people, not for our listeners.
Maybe the genius, the cream of the crop, the intellectual leftist of Seattle.
Well, should we?
Who likes people who talk about poop. So,
damn it.
So we have. Was that just a Patreon episode? Yeah. Speaking of, if you want to hear us talk about poop and a lot of other things, by the time this comes out, there'll be a backlog of something like 1,100 episodes.
Oh, yeah, 11 times 10.
And it's only $5 a month. You can go to Patreon, and they're full episodes. They come out sometime between one of these episodes that you're listening to now and the next one after it. Yep. There is an episode that comes out on the Patreon, and they are just as long and droning and aimless as these are.
Sometimes more
different topics.
Yeah. Sometimes because people paid for them, we do a worse job. The last one that just came out, we interview at Flexor from Twitter about public art in Seattle.
That's right.
And
yeah,
it's a must listen.
Yeah, if you want to learn about Italian design from the 80s, Memphis, check out that episode.
If you want to learn what the Memphis School is, which I had to very quickly read a Wikipedia while he was talking. Yeah.
So, and then, like I said, a couple episodes before that, we talked about a guy who just gets shit in his mouth.
Yeah. And can't help but screaming it from the rooftops.
Yeah. So
I think this next episode we've got some shit. We got some shit talk too.
Hopefully, yeah.
We talk some shit about some shit.
Gonna get scatological.
Keep it in.
Yeah.
Scatman Colin over here.
Something like that. So yeah, thank you for listening. Check those episodes out. Give us a few bucks and hear more.
Yeah, it also qualifies you for direct personal abuse in public online. Yeah. If you give us money, you are statistically more likely to be totally inadvertently abused by me from the Twitter account that I share with Colin.
Yeah.
Just think about that.
Yeah, think about what a treat.
I think it has to do with me subconsciously recognizing the name so that it sticks out.
Sure,
on the
right.
Twitter
it jumps
feed.
out on the page.
It's it jumps out. I don't know why I recognize it, but it's it's because you've said it to me as a new. Didn't we get someone new in the last week?
No, we've
That's
had
no new patrons. Whose fault is
we
that?
are one patron away from, again, we're just going to keep saying this until we get 30, renaming Brian.
Yeah.
find someone. Go find a homeless person and sign them up in your house. Commit podcast fraud.
Do not register them to vote, but engage in podcast fraud.
Yes.
And then tell Safe Seattle that you did it.
You know what? The next time someone asks you for money for food on the street, say, you know what? I don't have any cash right now, but I am going to make a regular ongoing donation in your name.
I'm going to give you something more powerful than food. A podcast subscription.
Yeah.
For me that I will use.
Yeah.
To learn about your plight.
We give you permission to also share the account credentials, or at least the feed RSS that is generated for you with that houseless person.
Yep, you heard it here first. Buy one, get one.
It's a classic BOGO Monday.
Well, yeah, I think that was it. We were going to do a quick shout out just to say, I'm not sure when this episode's going to land, but there's a new theater in central Seattle off Rainier, the Beacon Cinema. Opens July 19th. They're going to have some cool art house movies. Return of the Living Dead will be there. Django, if you really like, spaghetti westerns, and lots more. They're gonna have. They're also gonna have Streetwise, which is a pretty famous documentary from, I think it was either the late 70s or early 80s about street kids in Seattle.
Oh, I've seen that before. That's good.
Yeah, it is, and it just
Dr. Kevin showed me that actually.
Oh, it is a great doc, and they're going to have the restored version. I think they're the only theater in Seattle, so if you want to see that, it's coming, I think, later in July. But go check them out. So thanks for listening.
Awesome.
So shall we get to mixing our milkshakes, Wink?
Yes, we should.
Bye.